Hello and welcome to the Paula's Place podcast. Today I'm here with JoYi Rhyss. And JoYi, you are in Chicago, Illinois. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here. It's very cold,
Yeah.
as we talked about.
Yeah, a bit colder than here, I think, in Scotland. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So the big freeze hasn't come yet. Yeah. Now, we first met online for attitudinal healing facilitator training a few years ago. Since then, I think I've done a couple of your mindfulness programs on also online. JoYi, you worked or you have worked with at-risk children and adults for the past 30 years or more.
Yeah.
Um, you're a creative when it comes to coming up with programs and workshops that take on a deep dive into mindfulness and forgiveness. Um, and you've learned from the best in the field, when it comes to mindfulness and forgiveness. But it's your personal journey that has ignited the spark of desire to help others.
hmm hmm
And yeah, JoYi, I just wondered if you'd like to say more about yourself.
Yeah, it's nice to be here. Nice to meet you, Paula. I just went back in time to when we met and when we were all baby facilitators and learning. So it's really lovely to be here, having you take on all of this and interviewing all of us. So it's nice to be here. I've, this has been a meandering road. So I first came to mindfulness a long, long time ago, because that was kind of the foundational grounding work for any curriculum that I was working with youth. Because it's very clear that, when you're working with kids who are disenfranchised, for lack of a better word, and disconnected, and a lot of people telling them what they should and shouldn't be doing at all the time, you have to come a little bit more real if you want
Yeah,
kids' attention, right? They can
yeah.
sniff out crap in an instant.
Yes, yeah.
So the quest to be really you, and show up as you, was probably my greatest asset in working with kids. And it's good that I like working with kids. Like, I really identify with teens. I had a really tough time growing up as a teen. I just wanted somebody to listen. So there were a lot of reasons for me to go, okay, no matter what it is that I'm teaching, I have to first figure out how to be super present and honest
Yeah.
with myself
Yes.
and the person in front of me. So even though I wasn't doing this personal work, I was practicing this work in the context of being a better servant to the kids that I was working with.
Mm.
So I came by way of mindfulness. And then eventually, when you sit long enough and you're sitting with others long enough, then this little creeping voice of forgiveness enters, like all the piled up stories of why your life isn't going the way you think it should kind of
Yeah.
starts presenting itself in a way that you can hear it when you're sitting thoughtfully with yourself. So mindfulness, being
Mm.
present in the moment, no matter what, with acceptance, right? When you're teaching
Yeah.
it, you get some of it, even if I'm
Yeah.
fake teaching it. And I know for a long time I was kind of faking it a little bit.
Yeah.
So by way of forgiveness work, I was introduced to some magnificent people in Hawaii. And I gotta say, Merton Chinnan was probably the first person that I knew was specifically working on forgiveness work and had been
Mhm.
bringing in Jerry Jampolsky, as well as Fred Luskin from Stanford, doing mindfulness work and attitudinal
Mm.
healing work. And so Merton was my contractor for some of this work with teens. And I said, you
Wow.
know what, Merton, I think there's a path where we can work together on forgiveness. And that's what actually introduced me to Trish.
Um,
And I got to
yeah.
tell you,
Mm.
my whole life, the most common phrase that people would use with me was how strong I was.
Yeah.
And once I started doing some mindfulness work and attitudinal healing work a little bit, I was trying to figure out why that bothered me so much.
Mm.
Because I don't see myself as a strong person. I have a very strong personality and I have very strong survival instinct, but I don't know that I was strong in the way that people were saying. And I think it's because there was a layer underneath me that I always kept sacred
Yeah.
and it didn't want people to see. And it was this like gooey, like center. and I encased it with a bunch of stuff. And it was
Yeah.
Trish Ellis,
Mm.
I think, that really like never used those words. And in fact, like saw my softness or
Mm.
commented on it. I don't know, something about being in Trish's presence. And for
Yeah.
most of our time, it was over Zoom.
Mm.
She saw me in a way that I don't know that I've ever been seen by anyone before.
Yeah.
And so when then she talked about the principles of attitudinal healing, it really clicked and made sense. Like she
Yes.
was doing the thing that most people talk about.
Yeah.
And so I decided then that I would do whatever she asked. But more importantly, I was like, oh, this is a really good path to living out this forgiveness story that I'd been writing, because I'd been teaching forgiveness for a while at that point. And the forgiveness story, like it brings you to a point of like how you want to look at life differently.
Yeah.
But I didn't quite know exactly how to do that.
Yeah.
And attitudinal healing really offered me that path. So
Yeah.
it was through these people and through these places and through my work with the kids that all just kind of culminated in this like moment of quiet
Yeah.
that said, oh, all the pieces are here, JoYi. This is for the kids,
Wow.
but it's really for you, you
Yeah.
know?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's my
Yeah.
meandering path to attitudinal healing work and my work with kids.
Wow. Yeah, yeah. And you're so right when you say that kids pick up on when you not being your true authentic self. They pick up on that too. And
Yeah,
they respect you more when you are, as does anyone, don't they?
yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll actually then be able to hear what it is that you're asking them to do. Because if they don't
Yeah.
feel seen and they don't feel heard, right? It's
Mm.
like everything else that people say, just they're going to ignore
Yes.
it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. JoYi, can you explain what attitudinal healing is in your own words? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think very simply, the phrase that drew me first
Hmm.
was attitudinal healing. Um, it's really about finding our own best answers.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's kind of cool because my whole life I've been taught to like betray myself. Right? I would get this knowing in some part of my body, but I would be told to do this and that or something else differently. And then I would
Right.
always regret it. Like, oh, I should have just listened to myself. And so attitudinal healing
Yeah.
was the first thing that was really like that, like listen to the wisdom within, right?
Mm.
And follow that
Yeah.
path. And so attitudinal healing for me is about the possibility or the opportunity to choose peace again and again, choose myself again and again, to
Yeah.
choose love again and
Mm.
again and come back to that, no matter what is happening on the outside, right?
Yes.
So the chaos of personal life, the chaos of political life, no matter what, like, is it possible for me to really choose internally peace, which
Yeah.
melded really well with the definition of mindfulness, right? To be present in the moment, no matter what, with acceptance. And
Yeah.
acceptance, I want it to be an active thing, right? I want to
Yeah.
choose that acceptance. And for me,
Yes.
choosing and having the mechanisms to choose peace and to choose love and to choose joy through the guidelines and the principles and through the attitudes that foster connection and separation really just clicked and made sense for me. So it is the daily practice of choosing peace or
Yes.
the daily
Yeah.
practice of choosing myself.
Yeah.
So
Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm into that, right?
Yeah, yeah. And like you said, listening to it too, just listening
Mm-hmm.
and trusting your own
Yeah.
internal guide. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that
Wow.
as a practice for just generally for everyone, but for
Mm.
women in particular, mothers specifically,
Yeah.
because the messaging that gets said out wide across the field here is
Yeah.
that we're giving so many props for losing ourselves in others. You know, we
Yes.
even have words to say that, to lose yourself in motherhood, to lose yourself in wifehood, or to lose yourself in relationship, and lose yourself in service. And I really taught that from very young. And
Mm.
that form of betrayal. Like if
Yes.
I ought to only betray myself, like how can anybody else? So
Yeah.
attitudinal healing offers this opportunity to come back and say, okay, if I'm no longer going to betray myself, then how do I find my way back home?
Yeah.
right? So to tap into
Yeah.
that internal wisdom and to contemplate these assertions that attitudinal healing says that not only am I equal, that there's like this innate sense of wisdom and connection to the greater like whole.
Yes.
Then
Yeah.
it's like, okay, if I'm connected to that, then yeah, I could probably trust myself, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just juxtaposed to the messaging that women get, I
Yes.
find attitudinal healing is a great anecdote to that.
Yeah. 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 And especially for mums too. Mothers.
Right?
Yeah. 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 Yes. Yeah, and you mentioned the word, presence and coming back to, like an acceptance too in the moment, as part of your mindfulness practice. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been practicing that myself lately. Yeah,
Yay.
it works. Yeah.
Yes.
Accepting where I am right here and right now. Yeah. So, beautiful. JoYi, you've sort of mentioned already, you've mentioned Trish, but I'd love to hear more about your story of how attitudinal healing came into your life. If you want to add anything else onto that, what is your
Yeah.
story?
So, I like to, I have a
Mm.
very noisy brain. So I'm thinking a lot. I'm constantly looking at options A through Z and then back again, constantly thinking and working. So, like, just, I don't know that I ever really took a group first. I think I kind of did it backwards. I know that there was a need for some support, and I just kind of jumped right in because of my connection to Tris.
Yeah.
So I know that Attitudinal Healing in Hawaii, um, we were getting ready for a training, and I'd been doing forgiveness with Merton for a long time. And so she sent me all the online training. And so then I just started to do self study. So, like, my real authentic like work into attitudinal healing was doing all of the videos that Trish has made over the years, that we've been going through. So
Yes,
I
yeah.
watched all of those, kind of put myself through the study. And then I was working with another facilitator friend, Kaipo, who's a sergeant in the Honolulu Police Department. And
Right.
he and I were talking about it a lot. And Kaipo likes to go all in. So he bought me every single Jerry Jampolsky book, every single one. And so that whole year, I just did nothing but read Jerry's books and listen to Trish on tape
Wow.
and really like think about how I would incorporate that into the forgiveness stories, how I was living my life. And I think one of the things from that in retrospect, like I think at the beginning, I don't know that I would have thought this was an asset, but I really like to know what I'm talking about before I teach it.
Yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
do like to kind of
Yes.
go quietly for however long it takes for it to really make sense, like in my
Yes.
body, in my mind, in the way that I talk about it. So, yeah, through all of Jerry's books, and then I tracked down every video that was on YouTube, and then I looked at every single page on the website, and then I joined the board of Attitudinal Healing Hawaii,
Yeah.
um, and then started teaching. So the it, the the hook for me though was really about the power of choice.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I was really hung up on this idea that I would always make like the first choice that I
Yeah.
thought was good for me or that would make me feel more peaceful. But then as I would go through the day, it would start morphing and I would feel resentful again or not
Mm.
feeling very good.
Yeah.
So I think in choosing, like listening to all the words that people use to name their Attitudinal Healing Center, it's like choose love, choosing love over conflict, choosing again and again, right? There's this like repetition of choice.
Yeah.
And so then when I really saw the 5 levels of choice that we're making, so
Mm.
it's not good enough to have the intention of peace,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Where I was going wrong is that I was paying attention to all of the wrong things because I'm coming from like a survival mechanism, like from my past of
Yeah.
all of the stories that had me worried. I was filled up with don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, be careful, be careful. Like all my stories culminated in watch out, be careful, watch out, watch out. So even though I would approach the day with, okay, I'm choosing peace today. So I've set an
Mm.
intention. I would still pay attention to all the things that I needed to watch out for, right? Those are
Yeah.
all fear based. So, how could I
Yes.
actually be at peace when I'm doing nothing but inundating my senses with all the things to watch out for? So, I think the journey really was about like I observe Trish and I see, okay, that's what peace looks like. That's what it sounds like,
Mm.
right? These are the things that I've read from Jerry and meeting with Jerry and Diane a few times, then reading all the books. And then I'm like, okay, these layers of choice. And I remember, oh my God, my whole life, I got so many scoldings for my terrible attitude, my shitty attitude, they would say, right? But no one really told me how to fix it, right?
Yeah,
They would just
yes,
tell me
yeah,
that it was a problem.
yeah.
And
Mm.
so when we got to the area of the attitudes that foster connection,
Yeah.
and through connection is how we can approach peace. I was
Mm.
like, okay. So we already know about acceptance, right? Through mindfulness work. But
Yeah.
this idea of empathy, I really needed to like beef up my empathy arm,
Mm.
that compassion for self and others, to really take authentic responsibility, which I wasn't quite prepared to do even at that ripe old age, because I really still wanted people in my life that I was blaming to take
Yeah.
accountability. And I was like, once you take accountability, then I can take accountability. Like I was still doing this if then thing, right? That was
Yes.
keeping me quite
Yeah.
miserable.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then this whole notion of trust and love, first needed to start with me. And then I again looked to Trish. Like that's what a person who really trusts themselves looks like.
Yeah.
A person who really loves
Yes.
themselves is how they carry. So I
Yeah.
did really look to them as models, but then not only through their action, but through their words and their tapes and all of that. So there
Yeah.
was a lot of self study. And then I went full hog into groups and facilitating and facilitator training. That's
Yeah.
how I learned best is in community, which is what attitudinal healing
Yeah.
supports, right? We do our peer
Yes.
support groups for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like those little mechanisms that I keep fine tuning and looking back to the mentors in my life, no
Yes.
matter where they are now on whatever plane, I still look to
Yeah.
them for guidance, and then I go
Yeah.
back to their words. So I think it's going to offer lifelong practice.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's kind of
Yeah.
how I
It's
came to it, is to really fix my own attitude around my own life because I was
yeah.
really sick and tired of being sick and tired, as I say.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
honor the way you do. You really you get to understand things really well, and the way you share that with clarity is yeah, it's amazing, and you can talk about that more. Um, yeah. I'm going to ask you, Joey, how you use it in your daily life. And already I'm
Mhm.
thinking of your Substack, which I follow. And, because you are, you within your Substack, you not only relate things to your own life, but you also, you're helping people use attitudinal healing, to do the
Mhm.
practice. And yeah, I love it. And I know that might be a small part of what you do to incorporate attitudinal healing in your own life.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, that Substack, that the writing process really helps.
Mm,
I've tried lots of different ways to kind of market, and that's not. I don't even like that term, but you got to let people know what you're doing, right? If you're hosting
yeah.
groups and things like that.
Mm,
But the idea of this short little, it, it wasn't really suiting me. I really like to sit with the thought and really think through, how do I use it? How do I see others using it? How do I see others like make common mistakes?
mm,
In what ways would I address that? So I love this long form thinking that then I can process and then put down into writing. So that's
yes.
one way to help me get clarity around things that I'm thinking about. But my day to day use, um, I use it. I can tell you the first principle that
Mm,
really had a significant impact in the way that I looked at my life is, I think you and I talked about this before, is
Mm.
I was absolutely a fault finder, right?
Yeah.
Survival mode, that's what you're doing. You're looking for all of the ways that things don't go your way and how you can mitigate for that, right? And so, what was a very helpful mechanism, I know wasn't so helpful in my relationships, right? Nobody
Yeah.
likes to have 100 things pointed out that isn't working, even if
Yes.
those are
Yeah.
facts, even if those are
Yeah.
true, right?
Yeah.
So, the idea of, I can choose to become a love finder rather than a fault finder. It's a simple
Yeah.
statement.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, in how many ways is that applicable to me in any kind of given day? So one example, um,
Yeah.
this year has been, I just moved to Chicago less than 2 years ago.
Mhm.
Uh,
That's after 20
got
years
it
in Hawaii, wasn't it?
after
You
20
just,
years in Hawaii.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Amazing.
I got a job doing what I normally do, and it just was not for me.
Yeah.
And so this past April, I let that go. And then I also wanted to move, so I let my apartment go. And then I moved in with my two boys, my adult sons.
Mhm.
And it's so funny the way that everybody encourages you to, you know, parent your inner child, and all of the good advice on
Yeah.
how to like reparent ourselves, right? But it's funny when you're then put in yourself into where you're also then we're a parent to these kids that are now adults, right? So how do you manage all of those things? Because bad habits come back like that,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And my role, and this is what my role does. It's so
Yeah.
automatic, these automated bad habits, right?
Yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
really made a concerted effort to say, okay, if I'm going to be a love finder, what does that mean to my in my day-to-day life, in how I want to present myself in the space with these people, that I don't know very well, right? Because they've been adults and living their own life for a while.
Yeah.
So time didn't stop for any of us. So in what way can I really be a love finder?
Yeah.
So like if there is dishes laying around, for example, and like what a great opportunity that I get to, because I have the time, I have the energy, I like the warm water. I like
Yeah.
clean kitchens. There's so many things that I love about that whole process that I
Yeah.
used to just lose in grumbling, right?
Yes.
Lose in
Yeah.
misery.
Mm.
And so now each and every time I bring myself to the moment and like have a gratitude practice.
Yeah.
And it's a choice. Like I am choosing this. And
Mm.
then in choosing this, there's an opportunity for us to grow together, or there's an opportunity for things to implode again, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so there's lots of different principles that I use at various points, but that one in particular, like if there's laundry, I'm like, ooh, okay, I have 5 minutes. I can put laundry in.
Yeah.
Like I love being able to provide clean clothes for people.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and I don't even have to beat it over rocks, and like it's not work.
Yeah.
I'm
And
pushing, I'm pushing a button.
yeah, yeah. I'm sure they appreciate it too, that whole giving and
Well,
receiving too, you know?
yes,
Yeah.
and I'm sure, but I
Mm.
really do just do
Yeah.
it for me, because if
Yes.
I am the one being a love finder, then I used to do this very covert tit for tat,
Yeah.
counting peas.
Mhm.
I know that I have that stingy piece of me that I've
Yeah.
practiced for a very long time. So there's no way that it's all gone, right? So I
Yeah.
do try to
Yeah.
stay very present in just one principle at a time. So I'm going to be a love finder. So through that whole
Mhm.
process, I'm going to find all the things that I love about it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I get soap that I really like smelling. I get the right
Mm.
dishes cloth that I want to wipe with, right? Because those are simple
Yeah.
adjustments,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
and it makes such a big impact.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not such a big thing either, right? So it's
No.
in these very, very small ways.
Yeah.
Um, the other way I think that I can talk about is that I do speak and I do host groups, and
Mhm.
I talk a lot on this topic. And there was a time when I would feel like I wasn't qualified, or, I don't have the 14 degrees and letters after my name. And in fact,
Mm.
I used to start off a lot of my speeches saying that so that, I don't know, I wouldn't be caught as a fraud, or I don't know what was going through my mind, right?
Yeah.
So I used to start off with like, oh, I'm less than you, but please listen to what I have to say. I do
Mm.
not feel like that anymore. And it is this whole idea of connection. And the attitudes that foster connection, one of them is equality, right? To
Mm.
see us as equals. And I
Mm.
can't do that if I am bowing down to, I am less than you. So
Yeah.
to the degree possible, I
Mm.
really present myself in a way that there's some real exchange that can happen if I
Yeah.
don't dumb myself down, right?
Yes.
So I'm
Yeah.
taking authentic responsibility for my own education
Mm.
and for my own, you know, however I got here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then to speak in a way that I have something to offer here, and I want to
Yeah.
offer it with my whole heart. So that
Mm.
list of attitudes that foster connection is another one that I use quite often, because
Yes.
to
Yeah.
accept myself and to have empathy and to take authentic responsibility, trust, love. Okay, just stay there, JoYi. Just stay there. So
Yeah.
as soon as I
Yeah.
start doubting, come back to that connection piece. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
game changer,
Yeah. Yeah, because it's easy to fall into that trap. I can fall into that
right?
trap too, of feeling less than someone else who's,
Yeah,
I put up on the pedestal. Yeah,
yeah,
it's crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you
I
find that
love
when you're
that.
doing these,
Yeah,
or
I
when do
can.
you find
Well,
that?
yeah, yeah, no, I do. And in groups sometimes, different groups, where it might just be a women's group that I'm part of and we just share. And sometimes, when I share, I feel as though, oh, my share is so much less than theirs, or I want to be
Oh,
that spiritually aware, to someone else in the group yeah.
yeah.
But
You can
then I
sneak
remind
up,
myself,
right?
yeah, yeah, just it's just a matter of reminding myself it's okay, we share the light. We can share the
Yeah,
light. Sometimes they can shine brighter than me, or I can shine brighter than them. It just depends
yeah.
what's happening too.
That's
So
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's right.
yeah. So
Yeah, so that's my daily
yeah.
practice of attitudinal healing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I love the way you just simplify it, JoYi. So anyone watching this, or even reminding myself too, that it's just a matter of just even when you're doing the dishes, so
yeah.
simple. Just feel that warmth, that bringing in the senses too, and yeah, remembering
Mhm.
that it can be an enjoyable, finding the love in it rather than the fault. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, Joey, what would you say to someone who's trying to implement attitudinal healing, maybe in their workplace, or it could be in a school, or just someone that maybe is already doing attitudinal healing and wants to get out there and spread the word in a way.
Yeah. Think the advice that I
Yeah,
would give,
it's okay in this
uh,
circumstance.
right, is to start with ourselves,
Yeah,
right? It
yeah,
is start with ourselves, and then the relationships that are in your life, and then the
yes,
community. I think what I notice when I'm mentoring folks or working with new facilitators is we get excited,
yeah.
about all of this new stuff that we learn, and we want to share it like from this space with everybody, and then almost like get ourselves up on a little bit of a pedestal and go, well, I know these things that'll be super helpful, and if you just did them, then everything would be better.
Yeah.
And it's really important to remember that they don't owe us that,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yes.
and it doesn't really take to make any
Yeah.
kind of difference, because it's me practicing my own piece. So if I'm coming into a space where somebody is being judgmental and guilt ridden and criticizing and comparing and operating from fear, my job isn't to judge them on their judgment and guilt and criticism. It's to like be curious about where they're coming from, and
Yeah.
to 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 be there
Yeah.
with an open heart, right? We say in
Mm.
attitudinal healing that love is listening,
Yeah.
listening with an open heart, with an intent to connect,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So when we are out there practicing this, it's truly to practice that. So when
Mm.
people are behaving quote unquote badly, our job isn't to tell them that they're behaving badly, is to sit with an open heart. And if we really trust this teaching, is that if we are there and truly listen with that open heart,
Mm.
then them feeling felt will shift the dynamic.
Yeah.
Like we don't really have to do much, right? Except for the practice that authentic listening with that open heart, with that intent to connect,
Yeah.
heart to
Yeah.
heart, right?
Mm. Mm.
Um, but a lot of us, I think, tend to want to tell people this new modality, right? There's
Mm.
endless self-help books that we've read and we share with one another and encourage each other to read. And it's almost like another notch or another thing for us to hoard. And instead, it's for us to practice that in space, right?
Yes.
So if we look at the guidelines, for example, often when I have the group read the guidelines, I invite people to think about like what guidelines do you use for yourself when you're like going to argue with your spouse?
Yeah.
What guidelines do you use
Yeah.
when you're about to talk to your kids,
Yeah.
right? And for me, attitudinal practice needs to come out of the circle and into our lives.
Mm.
And that can happen for me to go, okay, what are the guidelines that I would use in a circle? And what
Yeah.
can I apply here in this moment without
Yes.
anybody needing to know what I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
The
Yes.
guidelines tell us how we can behave in a way that will foster connection with others.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
So if we are wanting to do like a circle, for example, at work, where
Mhm.
it's, no advice giving, people can just share. To really know that sharing is different for folks, right?
Yeah.
Vulnerability looks different for folks. There's different price tags for vulnerability for different folks.
Mm.
And so, me, as somebody who's practiced this for so long, I might go, well, I need everybody to be more vulnerable, more vulnerable. It's not for
Yeah.
me to poke and
To,
prod that. It is for
yeah.
me to literally let whatever happens happen and hold that space,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So in this way, I go the first without fail in any group,
Yeah.
I'm going to get somebody that says, you know who needs to come into this group? Everybody will, my partner, my husband, my spouse, my kid, everybody will send somebody else except for them, their own practice, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so the advice that I have just across the board for me, for you,
Yeah.
anybody,
Yeah.
is that it really is about us. In what
Yes.
ways are we
Yeah.
accepting ourselves, all of
Mm.
our shortcomings, right? In
Yeah.
what ways can we be compassionate and empathetic with ourselves? In what ways
Yes.
are we taking authentic responsibility for ourselves, right? In
Yeah.
what ways
Yeah.
do I trust myself? Because some of us need a lot of work to build trust with ourselves,
Yes. Yeah. For
right?
sure.
And
Yeah.
then love ourselves. And that will then ripple,
Yeah.
right? And then
Yes.
invite people to a group.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it really
Yeah.
is about ourselves first.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And other people feel that. So, maybe they might want to come to your group if they can feel that from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, great. JoYi, do you have any final thoughts or anything you'd like to add? Yeah, just to finish off for today. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been thinking a lot about performance versus practice. This wellness space, this healing space, there's a lot of fluency in the way that we talk about healing and wellness
Mm.
and all the good ideas. And yet, after the lights go out in a group or the circle ends, people are still in pain in a very similar way. And so I'm thinking about like, what's the difference for me in performing wellness as I did for years
Yeah.
versus me actually practicing in a way that I feel more peaceful now. I feel joyful now. I feel less triggered or better able to manage myself when I'm triggered. And I think it came with a couple of clarifying things. So one is to really figure out for myself, what does healing mean to me? Like, how will JoYi know that JoYi's done the work of healing?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Because this thing that we throw around, but if we don't answer that question, then where are we going? Like the
yeah,
compass, we don't have the
yes,
compass. And
yeah,
so for
yeah,
me, healing for me is about this restoration to wholeness, to accept
mm,
all the parts of me, right? The
yeah,
parts that are loud and is not accepted in certain spaces, and the part that's really
mm,
soft and cries all the time, and
yeah,
the part that is very irreverent and cusses way too much. Or like, how can I really accept all that is me? Like, to me,
yeah,
that's what healing is. So
mm,
any modality I take on is going to be to that end. Like, how can I
yes,
really come home to myself and be
yeah,
whole and
yeah,
be
yeah,
okay with uniquely being me? So that practice of that is done in the quiet. The practice of that is done in repetition. The practice of that happens when we ask ourselves to to do it again and again, right? To
yes,
choose again and again,
yeah, yeah,
which is so different than the performance. There are people who put on a really good performance,
yes,
right?
yeah,
And they
yeah,
and look the part, they
yeah,
sound the part. Um,
yeah,
and I can't judge whether or not that's true for them or not. All I can say is that the definition of what it means for you when you feel healthy and well,
mm, yeah,
right? To really take ownership of that, right? So
yes.
for me, learning that I have these wild swings, I am loud and quiet. I'm a, what do they call it? A socially adept introvert. So I can get
Right,
out
yeah,
there,
yeah, yeah.
but I am not an ex. I really need quiet to recharge, right?
Yes,
So
yeah,
I
yeah,
do take a lot of time to do that and to sit in
yeah,
stillness so that I can
yeah,
go, wait, is there a part of me that feels lost? Can I call her back
mm,
home? Right.
yeah,
So
yeah,
to anybody out there, the any buzzwords that we're using, I
yeah,
encourage us to really decipher the meaning of that for ourselves.
mm, mm,
What does peace really mean for you? What does joy really mean for you?
yeah,
What does love really mean and how does it feel for you? Right. And from that place, then apply the principles and the guidelines in a way that feels supportive of that
yes,
freedom script that we've written for ourselves.
yeah, yeah,
So, yeah, I do tend to write and think a lot about performance versus practice. Um, and yeah, there is no magic but the day, the daily practice of it.
yeah, 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 yeah. That daily practice and just loving, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and
Yeah,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, being with it. Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
What a beautiful way to end. So, thank you, Joey.
thanks.
Appreciate your time here today.
This has been fun, Paula. I really enjoy watching your progress too, and you
Mm,
wrestling with these concepts because I do enjoy like talking about this and
yeah,
really figuring out what other people have uncovered through their years of practice, right? Because it's going to
yeah,
be ever unfolding. So it's been
yes,
lovely to see
yeah,
the few layers of unfolding
yeah.
in you and to be witnessed by you as
Oh,
well. So thank
oh,
you.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I've enjoyed this process for sure. And the stories. Yeah.
All
Thank you, Joe. Take care.
right.
Mm.
Bye.
Bye.